Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where we are currently heading up to expand the spaceport Esperanza with the solar array and docking hub. We're going to need to do both here because this is all in one flight, and our rendezvous is going to be out here. Okay, so we're going to want to be about our rendezvous is going to be up here. We're going to want to be about 2 minutes or more than 2 minutes away from the rendezvous because we know that it's going to take us roughly 2 minutes to break. So that's going to be a thing. Let's go ahead and warp to here for now. Okay, so we're already positioned at velocity retrograde right now. If we were to burn here, what is that doing to our position? Increasing. Okay, that is noted. So we should move forward somewhere around 40 seconds or so, bringing us down to about 3 minutes away. And I actually want to move forward about another 15 or 20 seconds here and start this burn at about 2.5 minutes away. So that'll get us a little bit of extra space here. We're going to be increasing our closest approach, and that's fine. For the moment, what I want to do is I want to move this number down to a more manageable number. That's the idea. We can also do a bit of a corrective burn as we're doing that, and that's probably a good thing to do. So we can move, this is actually going to have to go up this way to about here or so. So this is a corrective burn at this point. We're going to be moving this over here. I just want to position ourselves about here or so. Now, we don't have an exactly even layout here in terms of mass, so it's a little bit hard to hold the exact positioning. Let's just go ahead and bring this on down. Okay, so you can see that we're down to about 75 meters per second of separation. We're up to about 3 minutes until this approach. So I want to bring this in a little closer, about a minute or so. We burned off about a third of the speed that we wanted to burn there, but I want to move this closer so that we can burn out over this direction a little bit. Wait, no, we're going the other way. I keep mixing up the two markers. I don't know why, but there we go. We're going to burn somewhere out over here, but we need to position ourselves about there. Okay, and you can see that this is getting quite a lot closer together. That is understood for now. We're going to burn here until such a time as we lose efficiency, which is right there. Now we're going to lock to retrograde, and we're down to about half the speed that we were previously. So we know it's going to be about 1 minute or so until this is in position. We're 107 meters out. That is more than close enough. So I am deeply, deeply unconcerned about that. But we do need to slow this down a wee bit. So let's go ahead and work on that. Yeah, we can see that that's definitely pushing out a little bit. So we're going to need to bring this up over here. And having it push out from here is maybe not the worst thing in the world, because 72.5 meters is not far of a distance. So let's just close this in a little bit here. And I want to push this until this is probably about another 3 minutes. So we're down to about 30 meters per second at this point. And I want to move us up this way to do a bit of correction. Okay, so that's about 3 minutes and 20 meters per second out. I'm now going to move forward about a minute and a half here. So we're going to warp to here. Okay, so now we can do a little bit of a corrective burn out this direction. Very, very minor corrective burn. But we still want to be decelerating a bit. Wow, this thing is just kind of rocketing all over the place. I mean, it is a rocket, so I guess that makes sense. Okay, we're just pushing these two nodes together. Corrective burning here. We're down to about 10 meters per second. I want to get us down to about 5, and that's exactly where we are. So now I'm going to warp us forward about 2.5 minutes. There we go. And we can see that there is quite a lot of distance here that we can carve down on. So that's down to 4 meters per second of separation. And we're down under 100. Cool. I'm going to park it here. That's about 40 meters out and 2 meters per second apart. Okay, that seems absolutely fine for now. Now the question is one of timing, but let's go ahead and warp up to about here. Okay, so now let's hop in here and let's see where exactly we are. We're about 100 meters away. Okay, so that seems absolutely fine. So we're going to have to choose where we want to dock these parts to, right? So I think what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to decelerate us down a bit here. This is anti-target. I want to be on target retrograde. Hang on. There we go. This is the one we want to be at. Okay, so let's just bring that right on down until we have basically no movement between the two. Continuing to decelerate a bit here. Okay, so we still have a little bit of movement here, but not much. Okay, we're going to call that good. So at this point, we need to decide where do we want to dock these, right? And I kind of want to put the solar array, like, at one of these docking ports here. So I'm going to target this one, and we're going to point directly at target. And we're going to swap over to here, and we're going to grab this same one. And I want this docking port to be the port that we control from, right? How can we do that? I'm not entirely certain. We can set this as our target. So we can do that. But how do we control from this docking port? Center the camera on that part. But if we point at target, so that would be here. If we pointed at target, how is this going to turn? Yeah, this is going to turn this docking port to it. That's not what I want. Okay, so how can we control from this docking port? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure that we can, actually. I don't know that that's viable. We could eyeball it. That's a theoretical possibility. So we could put this on lock and then do something like that, right? To freeze the physics. And then we would select this docking port and we'd want to just line up the docking port. Hang on, to go out like this or so. And then we'd want this guy to select this docking port as the target and point at target. Like that, right? And then we'd need to just line this guy up. What are you why are you pointing at target? You're not supposed to do that. Okay. This guy is supposed to point at target, and you're not. So point at target. There you go. Okay. And then you are pointing at target. I guess we'll just lock that heading. Wild stuff. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just lock that heading and turn this like so. There we go. And I guess we'll just have to go for it. Because as far as I know, there's no way to actually control from a docking port. Which is intriguing. That's going to make things really strange. Well, let's go ahead and hop into target mode and point at target. And let's accelerate in very, very cautiously. So somewhere around 1 meter per second is the target. And the next one will be much easier to do. Still not at 1 meter per second yet. There, that's 1 meter per second. Okay, so we're going to turn on monoprop at this point, and we are going to see if we have any thrusters. We do. Okay, so we're just going to use that to get us in position, and hopefully the docking magnetic force is going to be enough to turn this. That's the idea here. We've missed. We have definitely missed. So it's trying to go from here, not from here. So how do we choose the specific docking port? That's the question that I have right now. Because that's the issue that we have here. We are not controlling from the specific docking port. I'm turning the monoprop off for right now, and I'm also putting this on hold heading. And then this here is also going to need to be on hold heading, which it's trying. Okay, let's just do that for now to freeze those physics. Okay, so to that end, this is set as our target, but how do we control from a particular docking port? That's the issue that we have. We need this to be considered, like this vector here, to be considered our forward vector. So that's going to be interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay. So I want to be pointing at target here. And we could update to this being our target. So then this guy, we would want to rotate, right? And the rotation, what is this? It's pointing at target. Stop it. Okay. This is really obnoxious. The way that it changes this for both. I don't like that. That is something that I really wish was not a thing. So we're going to have to line these up manually then. But we're going to have to do it without the capability of using the nav ball to determine where the forward vector is pointing, right? So that is the issue here. So we need to have this, choose this as the target. We're overshooting this, so we need to bring it back to about here. And then we're going to need to manage to pitch it, but not this direction. We're going to need to pitch it this direction a little bit. So we're just going to have to line this up by eyeball at this point. Okay, so something kind of like that. But now we need to freeze the physics. There we go. And it's not quite lined up. So now we're going to need to get some spin going here. And spin is a little awkward for us at this moment. But we can do something kind of like that. Just update that position. Okay. And now we can kinda go for it. Kinda. So I'm going to head in very, very cautiously here. Right? And we're just going to position this up over here. We're going to head in quite slowly. So it's clearly not designed to be utilized in this manner. I think that's very, very clear at this point. So we need to get this guy rotated back. We apparently lost our rotational attitude at some point. So let's bring this back and position that about here. We need to not overshoot it this much, but be more along the lines of this. It would be really nice if we had a marker here to indicate the position of our target from this point of view. Unfortunately, we don't. And our rotational velocity is all over the place. You can see here we're too high. So we're going to just like stab this thing. Do we have any counter thrusters here? Hang on. What's the controls for a retro thruster? It does not appear to be N. Let's see here. Flight craft? Let's see. Where would this be? IJKL and then translate forward backward is apparently not... Oh, it's U and O. Okay. U and O don't appear to be doing anything. Perhaps this design doesn't have retro thrusters? Okay. So this is clearly, if we're going to do this is going to be done in a very different way than we would do it with KSP. I think that's very, very clear. And unfortunately, we just went into darkness at this point. So I want to lock our velocity to retrograde. And we'll just use some monoprop to do that. Okay. Now, I wish I knew what our exact target velocity was here. Unfortunately, I do not. So we're going to have to eyeball that. Okay. We're definitely still moving a little bit here. Okay. That should be roughly 0. Roughly. At this point, we're going to warp around to the day side because I want to be able to see what we're doing. So we're going to warp here, and we're going to be 260 meters out at that point. So that is absolutely understood. I want to point towards target, and we're going to have to get a little closer here again. So we're going to head on out. Oh, the flight menu is still open. Okay. We're going to head on out this direction. We're going to head in at somewhere around a meter per second or 2. And we're going to need to pull this up over here, right? And correct our overall velocity. That's a little overshooty. Okay. So like down about here or so. A little further. About there. Okay. So then we can flip this around. If we don't have retro thrusters, that's going to be a potential issue, and we should definitely address that for a next iteration of this. The main problem that I have is lack of ability to control from the perspective of the docking port. We can center the camera on the part. We can select the command pod controlling this part. But that doesn't help us in the case of the actual spaceport, because we're trying to dock this to a small docking port that is not in line with the control of the other docking port. Once we get this docking port going, that won't actually be an issue. We'll be able to do that without any major problems. But as it is, we're going to have to be very, very cautious here. There's no doubt about that. Let's start a bit of a gradual deceleration. We're a lot closer now. We're not doing much deceleration, just a little bit. Okay, we need more deceleration than this, it's clear. We're down to 1 meter per second, okay. And let's continue to drop that. Okay, it's starting to get jittery, so we know that we're very, very close. Floating point errors. I'm going to let this continue to come in at a very, very low speed. I want to be very close here. Specifically, I want to be even closer than this. Okay, let's bring this to a halt. We're about 20 meters out right now. And cut engines. Okay, we're still heading in very, very slightly here, looks like. There we go. Something about like that. Now, I want to point towards this target, like so. We're going to overshoot it a bit. We're going to have to let that settle in. Specifically, I'd rather point towards this target. And that's the one that we're going to do. Now, we know that we're going to need to adjust our pitch a little bit here to be about like this, right? So this way, this is correctly angled. Then we're going to need to head over here and get this guy correctly lined up as well. That's going to be much harder to see. So I think for right now, what we need to do is we need to set this pitch to maybe around 55 degrees. We know that this is 35, right? So 55 should mean that this is at a 90-degree angle, assuming that our heading here is correct, which it isn't quite. So in that case, what we should need to do is we should need to set our heading here to be basically like this, because this is at a 90-degree angle. and it should be there. That should be what we need in terms of our overall positioning. Our heading here is maybe slightly off, but let's work on bringing this slightly in. Very, very gently. I'm hoping that the magnetic force here is able to compensate for the rest of this. Okay. Monoprop is being utilized. And I'm just altering our heading a little bit here. I think... Hang on. RCS off. Status is docking. We're at a bit of an awkward angle, I think. Okay, we are docking. We're at 40% docked. 70% docked. And then it immediately detached itself, which is a little bit awkward, but I guess that's okay. So now we're going to use monoprop here. Well, we want to just let this thing push itself away for right now. Okay. So that is fine. This is going to start tumbling like it always does when we have it dock. I don't know why it does this, but it absolutely does. It starts tumbling, and then it does all of this nonsense. So the other Nexus cross, we're going to want to attach that to the other large-sized docking port, right? There's not one on this Radix service module. There is one here and here, but I want to attach it to this one. So that's a Type A docking port. Yeah, that is correct. So I want to set this as our target. So that's going to go here. There we go. And then we're going to have this be our target. And this should be much, much easier. So at this point, we are going to point at target, and we're going to point at target. So both of these should come together and point at the target. I want to be in target mode here. We can see we're 0 meters per second apart right now, theoretically, but let's just bring this on in. We're going to be a little bit off center here, but that is, in theory, fine. So now I'm going to freeze physics there, and we're going to burn towards the target here a little bit. We're currently heading away from the target, and we need to get that turned around and be heading towards the target. There we go. Now, we can see drift. That's not shocking. That just means we need a little bit more speed. And then monoprop will counter that. So we're going to bring this up, and we're going to bring it over here. We don't have a lot of over authority, it seems. But we're working on it. We're trying. Okay, I think we need to rotate a little bit. There, something like that. Maybe now we'll be able to properly have some right-left authority. We have none. No right-left authority whatsoever right now. Let's position this here, and that will turn it into up-down authority, right? Yeah, so we need to position here, and then RCS, and then we would rotate like this. I don't know why we only have up-down authority right now, but I guess it's okay. There we go. The spaceport does not appear to be properly on target. It's looking off to the side a little bit, but now it appears to be approximately correct. Okay, we need to change this around a bit. That's much better. Much, much, much better. Okay. We are in process of beginning the docking. We have collided. That is perfect. I'm going to turn the RCS off for the moment. I think it's fighting the attempt to have these turn to each other. We're in contact right now, but this needs to swing up like it is. It's doing the right thing right now. And then we'll need to get our docking done, which should happen fairly shortly here in theory. I want to just hold here for right now. Okay, docking is commencing. We lost our dock. Okay. So we need to pitch this down a little bit, like this. Okay. Whoa, what is happening here? Why is this, like, ejecting itself? That's weird. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. We were very close to getting that docking done. No doubt about that. Oh, it's going. 40%. 50%. 60. 70. Docked. Beautiful. So this is now released at this point, and this guy is going to start tumbling. Please don't. Get that under control. Now, this, we're going to want to get a little bit of distance from the station, which we just did. That little bump with the solar panel, that'll do it. So that seems great. I want to lock our velocity to retrograde, and our mission now is to deorbit this. We got the space station successfully expanded. That was awkward, no doubt about it, without the ability to control from there, but that just means that we have to use this system and get it manually lined up. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little spicy, no doubt about that. At this point, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to deorbit this, and we will consider these contracts complete. By the time I come back, if I remember, I will have completed these contracts. Otherwise, we'll do it when we deorbit. That is technically when it's supposed to be completed, when we deorbit, but I mean, at this point, the mission is complete, so you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy Magar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.